Alright, we're going to do a quick video on how to set the, or verify the timing on an LS motor. They don't have timing tabs or anything on the balancers, so pretty much have to do this to verify your timing. First step would be to take our spark plugs out so it's easy to turn over. If you want to do it by hand, don't bump it over with the key. You'll hit the piston stop and damage your piston, so it's best to do it by hand. And also the exhaust valve will hit your piston stop, so you want to take your both rockers off, which I've already done. I've already taken spark plugs out. So Proform sells a really cheap and effective piston stop. It's like 12 bucks through Summit or Amazon. This screws in and out so you can adjust it. You just run it all the way in. And then just put it in like a regular spark plug in the number 1 hole here. Now I've already brought this up to where it blew my finger off the hole, meaning the piston was close to the top, and then I backed it off a little bit. That way we don't have to crank it all the way over to hit the piston stop. So I got that in there, and let me show you my timing tab that I made. Since LS motors don't typically have timing tabs unless you have an aftermarket setup, which I don't. I just made one with a piece of welding rod. You can make one with a clothes hanger. Doesn't really matter. As long as it points straight out here to the balancer, we're going to put marks on this balancer when we hit the piston stop on each side. And then halfway between will be top dead center. So we'll do that. I've got a lot of stuff down here, so you have to bear with me while I get my arms down in here and crank this thing over. We're going to bring it over until it hits the piston stop. Alright, that's up against the piston stop. So if you use a silver Sharpie, the timing light will pick that up pretty good. So we'll put a mark right here on the pointer. I'm going to put one there and out here just in case one of them gets rubbed off or something. You can't see it very good, but when you shine the timing light on it, it'll show really nice. So now we've got to go back the other way and hit the piston stop. So I'm going to do that. Okay. Now we'll put another mark on it. And you can see the other mark, if I can get my hand down in here, the other mark is right here. So we're going to measure between these two marks, be somewhere around here, will be top dead center. So I'm going to take the piston stop out. So we can turn it over without hitting the piston stop. So now we'll turn it over to where we can see everything a little better. Okay. So we can see we've got one mark here. That's where we hit the piston stop, and we got another one right there. So we're going to take, what I like to do, some people use calipers to measure the distance and then put a mark between them, but that isn't really the correct way to do it. You need a length on a curve, which is the proper way to do it. So we'll take a piece of tape, we'll put between here, and then you take the tape back off, you mark the tape, and that'll give you a middle point there. So let me find my tape and we'll do that. There it is. So we'll put one edge of the tape where one mark is. Lay it on there. The reason we do this is the distance of a curve is not the same distance as a straight line. So you put the edge of the tape where the first mark is, and then you just take another Sharpie, and we're going to mark where our first mark is, and that's down there where it starts. Okay, so we take that back off. Alright, so that's how far it is between our timing tabs here. And you can figure out how many degrees it is if you want. It doesn't really matter. We just need a mark in the middle. So we'll come over to the workbench and I'll draw this out here. You have to excuse my messy workbench here. Okay. So we'll measure how long this is. 4.65 is how long it is. So we divide that in two, we're talking 2.32. Let me grab my black Sharpie. Alright, so 4.65, half of that is going to be 2,325. So roughly right there. And to verify, you can just measure each side, 2.3, and the line. So that's where top dead center is going to be. So now we're going to stick that guy back on there. Make sure we're on our marks we made. So I'm off just a little bit, so I'll move that. It helps to not have your timing tab hanging way out over the balancer, so you can get that tape on there. Alright, so it's at the edge of the first mark, and we can see it's at the other mark. So now I'm just going to come in here and put a mark. If I can see the damn thing. There we go. We're going to put a mark right where our top dead center mark is on the balancer. Alright. So this little black line is top dead center. Now we'll put a silver Sharpie mark on it, so the timing gun will see it. So that's top dead center right there. So now I will put the spark plugs back in it, put the rocker arms back on it, and I'll break out the laptop and I'll show you how to verify that the timing is what it says it is. And if not, we'll change it. So, I'll be right back. Alright, we got our plugs back in, rocker arms back on, everything's ready to fire up. Timing light, you want to make sure this, where it says plug with the arrow, is pointing towards your spark plug. That's pretty important, so get that on there. Got everything hooked up, so we're going to, I'll show you on the Holley EFI what we're doing here. So once I turn the key on, this will drop down here. The enable static timing check will light up. We can click that and we can set the timing. So that'll lock the timing down. And then I'm also going to raise the RPM up a little bit so it won't surge so much. So let me go fire it up. And once I fire it up, you're not going to be able to hear me because this thing's loud. The exhaust is coming out of fenders here. So I'll fire it up and we'll walk through it here. Alright, so it was spot on 20 degrees. Don't need to change anything. I think you can see it in there. And so what I did was I changed the idle to 1250 so it wouldn't surge, and then we set the timing at 20 degrees. If we did have to change it, you would go into your ignition parameters, and under ignition type you go down here to custom, and when you go to configure, you can change the timing in the timing offset right here, or you can change it in the inductive delay. I was just going to do it in the timing offset, but I don't need to now because it's spot on. Don't need to change it. But anyway, that's how you do it.